Now I request our National President, Dr. Rajan Sharma, to address the gathering.
Honorable Health Secretary Hussain Lal ji, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my seniors and colleagues. First of all, as I begin my talk, I would like to remember my close to 800 colleagues whom we have lost in the battle against COVID, and I acknowledge their sacrifice. Today I am in the midst of all of you to talk about mixopathy, which is, at the outset, it must be clarified that IMA is not against any of the disciplines of alternative medicine, whether it is Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani or homeopathy. Let them flourish, but yes, they have to adapt to the scientific temperament of the scientific and modern medicine and come up with their own treatment modalities. And so I have named my talk as Annihilation of Modern Medicine, the lurking danger of one nation, one system, under the garb of national integration of all the medical profession by 2030. That would be the last year you will see a pure modern medicine doctor. Steps towards integrative medicine or mixopathy started with the NMC Act, which you all will remember we protested. And then a question was asked, how does NMC affect us? Now today, once you hear my talk, you will understand the step-by-step approach taken to create an integrated doctor rather than a separate doctor. NMC Act, the National Education Policy, and the Niti Aayog committees, and now the CCIM taking over the lead in formulating guidelines for healthcare. NMC Act, Section 50. All the councils had their own autonomy and integrity till now. Now there will be a joint sitting of the Commission, the Central Council of Homeopathy and Indian Medicine at least once a year. There they mutually appoint to enhance the interface between various systems of medicine. The joint sitting referred is by affirmative vote of all members present and voting decide on approving specific educational modules or programs that may be introduced in the undergraduate course and postgraduate course across medical systems and promote medical pluralism. As if our medical students today are not burdened enough that a further burden of 4 subjects are being put on. Our people are free to exercise pluralistic choices. In healthcare, our healthcare education system must be integrative. This would mean, illustratively, that all students of allopathic medical education must have a basic understanding of Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy, and vice versa. 4 committees are formed by the Niti Aayog: Medical Education, Medical Practice, Public Health and Administration and Medical Research. IMA was made part of only one committee, to which, when I was the president, I resigned from that committee, seeing the futility of the exercise. As if this was not enough, then came the CCIM amendment to the PG Ayurveda surgery. Of around 58 surgical procedures, in fact, if you take it in total, it's 200, which include general surgery. By general surgery, I mean abdominal laparotomy, gut resection and reanastomosis, gallbladder surgeries, laparoscopic surgeries, urology procedures, surgical gastro procedures, plastic surgery, ENT. Now ENT comes all the sinus surgeries, fast surgeries, tympanoplasties, mastoidectomies. Ophthalmology, anterior chamber, posterior chamber, intraocular lens, cataract surgeries, phaco, they are all included in the disciplines of Ayurvedic surgeries. And dental, root canals and dental procedures are notified by CCM that Ayurveda postgraduates in Shalya Tantra and Shalakya Tantra. They have divided the body into head and neck and the torso. So eye, ENT and anesthesia is one part and rest of the body is the other part. So as Shalakya Tantra is also authorized to give anesthesia. Which sort of medicines they are going to use? Which sort of equipment they are going to use? This I would blatantly call trivialization of surgical procedures, citing that surgery needs to be done in every village. Where was the infrastructure created for us that you are going to create for them? Surgery entails an informed consent. It entails pre-op, intra-op, post-op procedures and protocols. And the biggest challenge for surgeons is the complications. You need to assess a patient. You need assistants, anesthetists. I cannot give anesthesia and do the surgeries also. As per the notification and clarification issued subsequently, CCIM is now claiming that these are Ayurvedic procedures and not modern medicine procedures. And as this was not enough, rightfully so, IMA very violently protested also, vehemently protested, not violently. Violence is not a part of our profession. Came the claim by the CCIM chairman that 95% of COVID care in ICUs are being done by Ayurvedic doctors. As if the loss of 700 of my colleagues at that time was not enough. The concept of modern medicine flows from Indian Medical Degrees Act 1960, Western Medical Science, Indian Medical Council Act 1956, National Medical Commission Act 2019, CCIM created under the Indian Medicine Central Council in Act 1970. The amendment is beyond the power and jurisdiction of CCIM. As if this was not enough, came the ministry, GOM, Government of Minister, group of ministers headed by the Ayush Minister, by shortening MBBS course by 1 year. Now the legal status. Two separate and distinct statutory schemes for modern medicine and Indian medicine. The Parliament of India had created two separate independent and distinct statutory schemes for two separate distinct and independent medicine systems, modern medicine on one hand and Indian medicine on the other. These are the legal statuses. Section 2, modern medicine means modern medicine includes branches and includes surgery and obstetrics, but does not include veterinary medicine and surgery. Section 2J says medicine means modern scientific medicine in all its branches and includes surgery and obstetric, but does not include modern veterinary medicine and surgery. Now, Indian Medicine Act includes systems of Indian medicine, commonly known as Ashtanga Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Tib, or Soa Rigpa, whether supplemented or not by such modern advances as the Central Council may declare by notification from time to time. In short words, Parliament has specifically included surgery in the definition of medicine under the 1956 Act, now substituted by the 2019 Act, and specifically omitted surgery from the definition of Indian medicine. This is for the reason that surgery is and has always been a part of modern medicine, and further, surgery has never been a part of Indian medicine. Now came the claim that Sushruta is a father of Indian surgery, rather the world. We acknowledge with gratitude the contribution in those times by Sushruta, who was a sage. But whatever it was then done then has never been backed by the research. We all know the true status of the Ayurvedic medical colleges across the country, they have either non-existent hospitals, or wherever the hospitals are there, our doctors are going there and operating. And they come to us for our training, but training does not mean that we have given them a degree to practice medicine. But in short, CCM overstepping its domain has allowed modern medicine to be practiced by Ayurvedic doctors. And now comes the surgical procedures. CCIM can only grant approval for qualification for practice of Indian medicine. Section 36 of the 1970 Act empowers CCIM to promulgate regulation only in relation to qualifications for Indian medicine. The Mukhtar judgment, Poonam Verma judgment, Honorable Kerala High Court, National Integrated Medical Association versus State of Kerala and others are various other judgments. Now comes, you all must have read a few months ago, a conviction of an Ayurvedic doctor couple in Pune who did a cesarean section and botched up the entire surgery, resulting in the death of the patient. Unfortunately, the anesthesia was given by one of our colleagues, and all have been sentenced to jail. During our protest on mixopathy, a journalist asked me, Dr. Saab, are you afraid of them? Are you feeling threatened? I said, I am not feeling threatened. I am worried for the healthcare system mess which is being created. Because the mess they will create will land up at our doors. And I am worried about my future generation. When these youngsters, or when we were young, we decided to become doctors. From 8th onwards, our family used to tutor us, beta padhai karo, doctor banna hai. Out of lakhs of students, 88,000 people now clear a NEET exam. Then 5.5 years of grueling MBBS. Then NEET PG. Then NEET Super PG. And after that, this is being imposed on us. This is a direct threat and invasion of our medicine. It is not our medicine, it is our legacy. Indian doctors have led by example across the world. We are the backbone of healthcare in USA, UK, Australia, Gulf. Name any country where you don't have an Indian doctor. And not to talk of medical tourism. The CCIM has sought to permit practitioners of modern medicine to perform complicated modern surgical procedures, which is impermissible in law by various courts of judgments. Beyond the powers and jurisdiction of CCIM, and if allowed to operate, it would create a havoc and chaos in the public healthcare services of the country. When we say, please increase the GDP on healthcare, what was stopping them from across the country? COVID was a right time. I am proud that we have created high flow oxygen facilities. Things are improving. But like infrastructure push, I remember Punjab was one of the first few states to give an infrastructure push by creating a Punjab Infrastructure Development Board, and all the civil hospitals were upgraded. It is not that healthcare systems are not doing well. You take the example of Kerala, Tamil Nadu. They have got excellent facilities. Every PHC, CHC is manned by an MBBS doctor or a PG. Right of persons possessing qualification in the schedule to be enrolled. That section 25, no person other than medical practitioner enrolled as in the state medical council register. Medical council people are here, they will agree. Shall hold office as physician or surgeon or any other office by designation in government or any institution maintained by a local and other authority. It is section 34 of the NMC says, no person other than a person who is entailed in the state or national register as a case shall be allowed to practice medicine as a qualified medical practitioner. Now you see, they have created a parallel medical education board, making MCI go, creating NMC, which is a totally nominated body, and now it has been taken over by the, parallel healthcare has been taken over by the CCIM. CCIM regulations could create a situation as if allowing surgery was not enough. They have been told that they will be taking knowledge from our modern medicine books. I said, where are the teachers? He said, you will teach us. We don't have the teachers. And what is the degree? MD and MS. And in the brackets they will write A. A means Ayurveda. That A, when it comes to the field, is going to go away. And who is going to regulate these 58 procedures? We are bound by so many laws. We were discussing in the afternoon. We are bound by the CPA, we are bound by our state medical councils, we are bound by the district authorities. We are amenable to our public pressure, but without any qualification, without any training, you are letting them go scot-free. PG degree holders under the modern system of medicine who undergo rigorous study and teaching while providing all the courses. Persons who have achieved PG Ayurveda degrees in surgery under the system of medicine, such an outcome will only be contrary to public interest, but is also manifestly arbitrary, unreasonable, treat unequals as equals, and is unconstitutional. Textbooks I have already explained to you. Now, fewer patients, fewer opportunities. Barely a quarter of 414 Ayurvedic colleges have 100 seats. Nearly two-thirds, 64% of the undergraduate Ayurveda seats are in colleges with 60 seats or less, which need to have just a 60-bedded teaching hospital with a 40% occupancy on about 24 beds. Of the 60 beds that must be kept aside for Shalakya Tantra and Shalya Tantra are just 25. So 25 patients, I think, will make a surgery with 58 surgeries. In comparison, almost all MBBS colleges have at least 100 seats, and for that they need a 500-bed teaching hospital with 75% occupancy, with NMC and MCI inspectors breathing down our neck to maintain quality. That is 375 beds and 120 beds kept aside for general surgery. Thus, students who join post-graduation surgical specialties in Ayurveda would have seen fewer patients and would have had fewer opportunities to be trained in surgery. But the basic moot point is, where is the teacher to teach them? Already we are seeing a shortfall in medical teachers across the country. Just 3 acres are required to start a Ayurveda college with an intake of 60 students or less, and 5 acres if taking 61 to 100 students. For an allopathic college, the stipulation in force is minimum 25 acres. The number of faculty, equipment and support staff required in Ayurvedic colleges. If minimum requirement for allopathic colleges were brought down to the level of Ayurveda colleges, arguably hundreds more of them could be opened, but would that be desirable to bring down the quality of training and teaching? If so, it raises question about equivalence also. I have already told you the government of group of ministers headed by Ayush Minister has already proposed 1 year reduction in MBBS course. And incidentally, being Ayush Minister, we have risen to our Hippocratic oath and treated him for COVID. And as I am talking to you, he is undergoing orthopedic procedures. We wish him a speedy recovery. But double standards, one for yourself and one for the hapless population of the country. And is being heaped out into the states is something pathetic. This is the status of modern medicine. 550 medical colleges, 88,500 MBBS students per year, 38,500 PGs per year. Any point of time, 1,50,000 MBBS doctors are unemployed. Now comes the real reality. I am not talking of here, but across the country, in many parts, contract system is a major player. When we came, I did my PG. I wanted to join government service, but was not given an opportunity. Neither were the facilities there. Otherwise, and the facilities have to be created. Frontier of modern medicine in both evidence-based and clinical medicine, highly skilled manpower, hospitals of international standards. As I told you, we are backbone of every healthcare system in the world. Dilution of modern medicine, integration of all system, one nation, one system concept. That is the Chinese model of integrated medicine and barefoot doctors. Puts millions of lives in danger due to mediocre education, training and services. Imminent fall in health status of the people. Loss of leadership in medical education. The country to be entirely served by mixopaths, the hapless population little realizing which doctor they are going to and what are they subjecting themselves to. Modern medicine and traditional medicines will be abolished as individual systems. I still emphasize and say let the purity remain. Invest in research like the two sides of the river. Let the river flow between us. Don't try to merge us into you or you into us. Ultimately, it will mean the end of many systems. And just imagine many of our youngsters who are going abroad. After 2030, which degree will be recognized? Irreparable loss to the achievements in life expectancy, eradication and control of infections, fall in maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate, medical tourism, which Jalandhar is also famous for. We stood up for India. Your turn now to save modern medicine. Say no to mixopathy. Thank you so much.